My father begged me not to say a word. Not a word about why we hadn't spoken in years. Not a word about why I wasn't at his wedding. Not a word about the reason I wasn't part of his picture-perfect life. And for a moment, I considered it. But when I looked into her eyes, his new wife's eyes, and saw the hope, the kindness, the belief in a man she thought she knew, I couldn't stay silent. Because what do you do when the truth might destroy a marriage, but the lie has already destroyed you? This is the story of how I told my father's wife the truth and watched the fantasy collapse. And now, everyone thinks I'm the villain. But let me take you back to where it really began. I'm 27 now. A man, I guess. But this story starts before I had a name in my own house, before I had a voice. When I was born, my mother died. She died giving birth to me. And my father, my biological father, never recovered. Not in the way you'd hope a broken man might, with time or therapy or growth. He didn't fall apart. He turned cold. He gave me to his sister, my aunt, from the moment I came into this world. And while she stepped in to raise me, feed me, love me, he made it very clear. I was the reason his world ended. Family gatherings were a masterclass in erasure. He wouldn't look at me, wouldn't speak my name. It was like I was a ghost haunting every room he walked into. But when I got older, the silence turned into something darker. He started saying it out loud, that I killed her, that he couldn't stand to look at the face of the boy who took his wife away. You can't imagine what that does to a child. Or maybe you can. I remember sitting in church as a little boy, crying during sermons about sin and hell, because I thought I was going to burn forever, because I was the reason my mom died, because my dad told me so. And yet, despite the weight of that guilt, despite every invisible scar he etched into me, I kept trying to earn his love, kept hoping, stupidly, that one day he'd see me. But after my high school graduation, he finally put an end to the charade. He told me, to my face, to never contact him again, because he had fulfilled his legal obligation, sending money to my aunt for raising me. And now, as far as he was concerned, I was no longer his problem. That was the last time we spoke, at least until recently. I moved on, slowly. My aunt never brought him up. My grandparents did sometimes. Enough to tell me that he'd gotten married again. I didn't care. I wasn't angry. I just didn't feel anything. Until one day, my grandparents called and said his new wife, his real family now, wanted to meet me. Apparently, she didn't know why we were estranged. According to him, it was just the usual. We drifted apart during the teenage years, and college got in the way. Narrative, just life stuff. He begged me not to correct that story. He said this could be a chance to reconcile, to be included in their lives again. But let's be honest, he didn't want me. He wanted a clean slate, and I was just a prop in his redemption arc. Still, she asked to meet. She was the one who insisted. She thought she was meeting a long-lost stepson. She thought she was helping heal a wound, but she didn't know the wound was still bleeding. We met at their home. He was tense. She was warm. She smiled the way people do when they're trying to make something right they don't understand. She spoke with so much hope. She talked about how we all make mistakes, how time heals, how families come back together. And I sat there, listening to her paint this fantasy, where I was just a distant son, lost in the shuffle of life. Meanwhile, the man next to her, the man who called me a murderer, nodded along like none of it ever happened. I wanted to stay quiet. I tried. But when she looked at me and said, "I'm just so happy we're finally getting to know each other," I snapped. I told her the truth. I told her that I didn't grow up with a father. I had an aunt who became my everything because he didn't want me. I told her that he blamed me for my mother's death, that he said I killed her, that I was a child, terrified of going to hell because of the things he told me. I told her he never visited, never hugged me, never called me his son, that after 18 years, he cut me out completely, that he only invited me here because she wanted me here. And when I finished speaking, the silence was deafening. She didn't cry. She just looked at him. And all I saw in her eyes was betrayal, because he hadn't just lied to her. He had let her build a future on sand. The fallout was swift. Word spread through the family. My grandmother called, voice trembling. She said she understood my anger, but this had been his chance. He'd finally found someone after losing my mom, and now I had jeopardized everything. They told me I had gone too far, that maybe, just maybe, if I had stayed quiet, he would have let me in, that this could have been the beginning of something better. But I couldn't ignore what happened. I couldn't sit there and let the lie be prettier than the truth. Because for 27 years, I was the one who carried the weight. I was the one who cried in pews. I was the one who begged a ghost of a father to notice me. And when he finally did, it was only to keep up appearances. Now he's devastated. His marriage is hanging by a thread, and the family's looking at me like I lit the match. But I didn't bring the gasoline. So, am I the asshole? Was I wrong to tell the truth? To stop being an actor in someone else's performance? Or did I just finally speak? What do we owe the people who broke us? Do we owe them silence so they can rebuild their lives on lies? Or do we owe ourselves truth, even if it shatters their illusion of redemption? This story isn't just about a father and a son. It's about the scars that silence leaves. It's about how grief, when untreated, can turn into cruelty, how blame becomes easier than healing. But more than that, it's about how one person, one adult child, chose to stop apologizing for surviving. To the OP, you didn't ruin a marriage. You told the truth. And maybe, just maybe, you freed someone else from a future built on fiction. To everyone listening, would you have stayed quiet, or would you have spoken up? Let us know in the comments. And if you've ever carried the weight of someone else's shame, just remember, your story matters. You don't need permission to tell it. This has been AITA Story Vault. Until next time, stay brave.